very first thing is to work on what it is that you want. And that can be really, really hard because you've got a lot of stuff. It's like when you're, I say it as like when people say you can't see the forest for the trees. I'm like, never mind the trees. You're in the damn weeds. You're in the poison ivy on the forest bed. Like you're so far in. So you can't really tell, but it's not that hard to take some time, revisit. And even if you have a notion of kind of where you want to go, check in with it pretty often, and just be really specific. My big thing is being specific. We are so terrible at being specific. Be really specific about what that is. So if you say like, I really want to, be the income provider for my family, and what does that mean? Say it's $200,000 a year. Why? What does that 200,000 mean for you? So it's finding the meaning, being very specific in what you want, at least for the next year, 2 years, so that's.
Welcome to Gratitude Geek, the relationship marketing podcast, helping DIY marketers find your micro influencer magic so you attract raving fans and repeat buyers. I'm your host, Kandas Rodarte, and today I'm excited to have Lynn Rivest on the show. We're going to have a lot of fun. So Lynn is the founder of Minimalist Biz, where she helps micro business owners, sounds familiar, create a business that fuels the life they want for the long term. With over 20 years of experience as a digital strategist and having coached hundreds of online entrepreneurs to grow their businesses, Lynn is a wealth of knowledge. But that's not all, folks. Lynn was also the right hand to a founder, taking their business from $100,000 to multiple seven figures in just 6 years. And if that's not impressive enough, she's also a single mom of 2 and considers herself a cozy minimalist. All about experiences over stuff, but can never have too many pillows, blankets, and books. So whether you're a micro business owner looking to create a minimalist biz or an entrepreneur looking to grow your online presence, you're going to want to tune in and hear what Lynn has to say. So let's get started. Welcome, Lynn.
Thank you, Kandas. I love it.
But all right, so tell us your story. How'd you get to where you are today?
You know what? Not intentionally, as many of us, I think do. I sort of let things happen to me. I will say that. I took psychology in school, loved it, but I had taken some time off and I thought I was too old because, I was like 24. I thought I was too old to pursue what I thought might be an inkling of going to medical school at that point. But I was like, no, got to get serious, got to get a job. I can't be like in school for another 10 years. So I ended up in a program for university grads called Interactive Multimedia. And I chose that because it was going to have a lot of variety. So we learned how to do audio, video, HTML, all the things online at the time, including CDs, which wasn't online, but that was the day. And from there, got a job quickly doing websites. And that wasn't my calling. So I'm kind of somebody who likes to get to know all the pieces of a business. So I quickly became a production manager, an account manager, and then went from there, and always in digital marketing because I went with what was kind of in front of me. Ooh, next offer. Oh, look, this job's open to me. I'm going to do this. I never intentionally sat and said, what do I really want? I kind of didn't feel like I had any options to do that, which is weird because now everything for me is, let's be intentional. However, like what I will say though, is I've ended up in a really good spot. So after working with these coaches that you mentioned in the introduction, they lit a fire under me. I was like, ooh, I had wanted to start a business for a really long time and I just couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. And so I had the privilege of working with this founder where the company grew so much, and I was a coach in her programs. And so I got to talk to her and work with tons of entrepreneurs. And I was like, I really love this world. Like I loved working with them before, but now I'm like, I love this part. So, and what I learned too was that this happened a while ago, but I don't love complicated, and the world is complicated enough. Things are complicated enough. And yes, I was pretty much a minimalist in my life, but business and online, I had 18 million tabs open and I was doing 500 things. And this business just had a lot of moving parts. And I thought there's there's probably a better way to do this for those of us where this is not going to work, and so yeah, I've been now working with entrepreneurs who feel that way. They're like, I having all of this stuff just exhausts me. Is there a way I can do this more simply? So
you and we've had several conversations, and I don't know if I've even told you this, that my word of the year for 2023 is release.
Oh,
Have
I
I
don't know
told you
if you
this?
did. I love that word.
Because I have too much shit and it's time to release it.
Yes.
So this is a
Great
very
word.
selfish interview for me. I want to learn from you. I really want to learn from you. Okay. Well, let's dig into that. Let's just start from there. What is the number one thing that people need to do if they're feeling that overwhelm? I've just got too much. And by too much, you don't just mean clutter. You also mean the clutter on your desktop, the clutter in your brain, the clutter. So what is the first thing? What is the foundational block that somebody needs to build so that they can become more of a minimalist?
Well, the very first thing is to work on what it is that you want. And that can be really, really hard because you've got a lot of stuff. It's like when you're, I say it as like when people say you can't see the forest for the trees. I'm like, never mind the trees. You're in the damn weeds. You're in the poison ivy on the forest bed. Like you're so far in. So you can't really tell, but it's not that hard to take some time, revisit. And even if you have a notion of kind of where you want to go, check in with it pretty often, and just be really specific. My big thing is being specific. We are so terrible at being specific. Be really specific about what that is. So if you say like, I really want to, be the income provider for my family, and what does that mean? Say it's $200,000 a year. Why? What does that 200,000 mean for you? So it's finding the meaning, being very specific in what you want, at least for the next year, 2 years, so that's the first step.
Okay, I'm glad that you dug into. I want to be the primary income earner for my family, and I want to make $200,000 a year. Because I was going to ask you, how do you get specific? By what do you mean? Because the for some people, the clutter is, oh my God, my bookshelf is over. My bookshelf is so full. This isn't me, because I did a really good job of eliminating books from my bookshelves when we moved. But for some people, they have so many books on their bookcase that they need another bookcase.
Yeah.
So do you really need all those books? Right.
Right.
So what is the why behind that? I mean, so when you gave it the overarching thing, I want to be, I want to make $200,000 a year, and these books bother me. That, they're distracting me from getting to that goal. That's a really good way of looking at it.
Yes. And that's the thing. You need that point. You need, people call it the North Star or whatever you will, to reorient yourself to. We don't think about it much. We think about like, I don't want this, I want that. And so we kind of scatter ourselves all over the place. But yeah, having that point, and you're right, it can come back down to the books in your shelf.
Yeah.
Is this helping me get there? Is it distracting me? Is it adding kind of psychic weight to my day? If it is, it's not helping.
Yeah. So what if your guide, that little intuition inside of your head, is off and you don't even see it anymore? How do you pay attention to it?
Wow, that's a really good question. I'm not sure I have a really great answer for you on that. I tend to work with people first to say, let's find what's going to work with you. So I'll ask them questions. What can be your framework for getting to that space where you're getting clearer? So it would be things like, because we've all read the tactics and that kind of stuff. So it'd be like, well, do you prefer to read books? Do you prefer to listen to podcasts? Tell me about how you learn about the world, how you take it in. Do you like sensual things, that really light up your senses? How do you spend your days in a way and the things that you love doing? And those are clues that will help you to bring you to that place where you're going to get in touch. It's a lot to do with your body, right? Getting out of your head and into your body. So paying attention. What does that feeling feel like? In that moment of, I feel really frustrated right now, sit and go, what does that feel like in my body? What the heck is frustration in my body? Is it a tightness in my stomach? And, getting in that space will help you, because that intuition lives in your whole self, not just in your brain, right? So it will help you. I am by no means an expert there, but I do talk to people about what's the way that you're showing up in the world that makes you feel good, and then you go from there.
You just have to sort of figure it out.
Yeah.
And pay attention and be mindful. I guess minimalism and mindfulness sort of go together.
Yeah, they definitely do.
All right. Before we started talking and before we started recording the podcast, I had to stop us in the middle of a conversation because we started to get into something good that I want to share with the audience. I was like, don't tell me any of that because I want the audience to hear this conversation. So what we were doing, we were talking about sales funnels, and you mentioned something that I had never really heard before. And I'm a marketer. So you talked about skinny funnels. So dig into that.
Yeah. So I'm a bigger fan of the idea of a skinny funnel. That being said, funnels are not my favorite way to talk about things, but that traditional typical funnel that is, wider at the top and then narrows in. I'm like, well, no, there's those funnels too that aren't so broad at the top. They're less wide. I'm a fan of that because I think really before anybody comes into your world, which is really what that funnel represents, going broad, especially for micro entrepreneurs, is a bit of a ridiculous undertaking, right? Like you don't have all this money and this way to be like, let's see what we catch in this gigantic net. So it's much better to go, who can I bring in who will be really interested in what I'm doing and how I approach things? And so that makes it skinnier. And the way to do that, like the way to get those people is, first of all, you don't need as many, right? We've heard of 1,000 true fans and even like 100 true fans. You just need people who are really into your stuff enough so that, they'll want to work with you and give you like what you need in your business. And to do that, you need to stand out like crazy. And that means being really, really specific about who you are, what you do, and who you can help.
That standing out thing, sometimes you do it unintentionally. Yesterday I attended Speed Network. I'm in Business Network International, BNI, and once a week there's a speed networking on Tuesdays. If you're in BNI and you're not going to speed networking, you're missing out on a huge opportunity. I'm just saying. Anyway, so in my inbox this morning were three messages, and they all said, "Kandas, I didn't get a chance to meet you yesterday, but I loved your pink wig. Let's have a 1-to-1."
Amazing.
And I don't wear the pink wig so that people will notice me, but it made me stand out. So you don't do not wear a pink wig just because you want to stand out. I wear wigs because I have no hair. All right. I'm not wearing them to stand out, but just doing something, right? Doing something that makes people say, hey, oh, I want to be in her circle.
That's right.
I want to be in her circle. So I don't like the concept of a funnel at all.
No.
And so I teach a marketing colander, which is very similar to a funnel. Things go in, but it has an opportunity for things to come out. Right. In a funnel, there's just one hole, and that hole can get clogged, right? And that it can be clogged with things that don't belong in the funnel. But with a colander, things go in and the stuff that you don't want comes out of the holes in the bottom. Yep. So the colander method that I teach, and I give this as a lunch and learn once a year, and it's you missed it if you're listener, if you missed it this year, it already happened, but you can join. I never pitched this on the show, but I'm going to tell you, listener, you've probably never heard me talk about this before. I actually have a group coaching program called Marketing Coffee Club Robusta. If you want to join the paid Coffee Club Robusta, you can have access to the training. And I've given it several times, so there's several iterations of the training in the membership site. And I never talk about that on the podcast. I don't know why. It's really inexpensive. It's $25 a month. All right. Wow. So yeah, why? How come you're not part of Robusta, listener? Anyway, back to the colander. So I teach things that other people would say are funnels, that are part of the funnel. But for me, they're just rinses of the colander. You rinse the colander. And as you rinse the colander, the stuff that you don't want to stay in the colander leaves. And I think it's the skinny, but your colander can be big and your colander can be small. I like the idea of a small colander. I preach all day long that you don't have to be an influencer. You can be a nano influencer, and nano influencers, can be very successful with a very small audience. You don't need to have 1 million followers. You can have 1,000 followers and make an income, So anyway, we're speaking the same language. We're talking about a different tool, I think.
Yeah. And I love the colander idea. The thing is to keep rinsing, right? Like, I think I see a lot of people go, well, I'm exploring. I'm all for that first phase for sure of exploring. You don't really know what's going to stick. But you've got to keep rinsing until that stuff goes out. And the big thing too about standing out is you have to have some people really not like you.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's really important.
Yeah. Otherwise you're not doing it. You're not standing out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard for a lot of us to do that. It is, the people pleasing, I think for women, especially, where we're like, this is how we learn to get ahead in the world, was to be of service, to not, ruffle any feathers, And I know that's not all of us anymore. But, I was called many times too aggressive. You're too sensitive. You're too something. I was always too something. And you learn to tamped out. You're like, okay, well, that's dangerous. I don't want people to. I had to unlearn that to some extent. I'm not there at all. But yeah, pissing people off has now become a little mini goal of mine. I'm not quite there, but it's down there somewhere going like, go for it, Lynn. Be willing to piss people off.
You can, if you don't, I don't want to live in a world of yes men. I don't want to work for a company full of yes people. I don't want to be associated in a world full of yes people. I want someone to push back.
Yeah.
Because it's the folks that push back that come up with the great new ideas. Totally. And the person pushing back might not have a great new idea, but someone's going to come up with a solution for the pushback that's going to be life-changing. Let's talk about ways to repel.
Yeah.
What are some of those ways that because this is a topic that has come up several times on this podcast, the concept of repelling the wrong clients. So what are some ways that you can repel?
Well, one way, and we won't do that here, is if you're a sweary person, swear. That repels a lot of people.
I added a cuss word to my tagline.
Did you? Amazing.
I help solopreneurs get shit done.
Yes. And that's, again, it's what's true for you, what's real for you, right? Like, it's not putting on a whole show. It's like my everyday conversations, I do that. So I'm not going to filter myself. And I know that it will bring the people, obviously, who don't mind or who don't care or who also do it. So that's something. Things like that, I would say. The other way is, if your tendency is to be, and I don't think they have many problems with that, but to be very woo, like go fully all woo, and you should repel people who aren't. Like, talk about, there was somebody who was like, I'm a witchy person, and it was witch stuff, like full on, like, don't hide from it, because right away though. And it's not like I'm repelled, but I see that and I go, not for me. That's also a great thing you're doing for people right away. It's like, is this person somebody I want to pay attention to? And you let me know within seconds.
Yep. I have a client who's Catholic, and somebody told her to take the cross off of her website.
Oh,
because she said the person said that it has nothing to do with the service that you offer. And I was like, but it has everything to do with who you are.
Exactly.
And it's going to attract clients to you that have the same values as you, and you're going to work together better with them because you have the same values. That seems counterintuitive because I'm not a Catholic. So why although both my parents were. Yeah. So why would I say that? But because I see the value in repelling the wrong clients to attract the right ones.
Yes, 100%. And that's a good one. It's like, the pieces of you, of your personality, of who you are, especially in our world, right? Where we're the ones doing the service delivery, where you're going to be working with us. You obviously need to know who I am. It's all tied together. So I'm glad you told her that, because of course, leave that on there. And again, what you're doing is just letting people know pretty quickly. There's signals we can give, right? and I know like some people, I go to their website and I'm just like, I'm very unclear and I'm not going to stick around. Like, I'm not going to try to figure it out for me, like for you. You need to tell me. Right. So for me, that was part of calling my business Minimalist Biz. I went back and forth with it a lot because I thought, oh my God, are people going to be put off by the idea of like minimalism, you know, as a dogmatic sort of approach to things? And maybe if you have a concept of minimalism that you don't like, I thought, well, that's probably still not the right, you're probably not in the right place and time for me. So I kind of, with the help of a coach who will always tell you, you know, is like, has anybody really ever said that to you? And who cares? Like, is this something you believe in? And I thought, yeah, it was that and the domain name. You know, I fully believe if the domain name is there, also go from there. But yeah, minimalism is something that is dear to me. So I was like, no, I'm going to stick with it. And that means a lot because I've actually seen many people in comments to my posts and stuff have said, I am not, like capital letters, a minimalist. And so they're not talking to me, but they're, you know, they see the signal and they're like, that's not me. That's not what I want. Great.
Well, it also was a very attractive. I mean, when you and I met, we had never met before. We met in a networking event.
Yeah.
And I was attracted to you right away because of minimalist.biz. So I think this is like the third or fourth time we've had a conversation. So obviously there's something going on. There's attraction is the wrong word, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, there's something there. Maybe. Yeah. Okay. There's something going on there because obviously you were attracted to my messaging and I was attracted to your messaging. So there, you know, we didn't repel each other. Whereas, you know, at that same event, there might've been somebody there that never wanted to meet you because of the minimalist thing, or never wanted to meet me because who shows up with pink hair to a business networking event, right?
Right.
Woman who doesn't have any hair and wants to have a good time, right? You know, you know. So so pushing back. So yeah, there are people who just don't get it, and that's okay. For me, this is true story. Somebody recently was raving about a business coach. I think it was a life coach, raving about this life coach. Oh my God, I love this life coach, and I'd never heard of her. So I Googled her. And the video on the front of her website is her walking on the stage from behind wearing this really grotesque white fur coat. And she's just walking onto the stage. And I was like, gag me with a spoon. And I navigated away.
Perfect. She's doing a great job showing up with her fur, doing her thing. I would have turned away too. Also, gag me with a spoon. I freaking love that. That reminds me of like when I was 12.
We must be the same age.
Yeah. I'm thinking we're very close in age. Yeah, that's perfect. That's a perfect example of that. Yeah. And for those of us who don't have like the fur coat or, you know, anything that's kind of like that, we need to figure out what it is.
Yeah. And it can be something teeny tiny. Yes. You know, it can be just a little. I have a girlfriend. She's a health coach, and she keeps she has a little plastic frog, and the frog has nothing to do with her business, nothing to do with any of it. But she just has the frog in some place in every photo that she posts on social. Yep. The corner of the frog, the eye of the frog, the foot of the frog. The frog is just in every photo, and it's just this little thing, has nothing to do with nutrition at all. But it's just that little tiny. You know, I recognize that. I know. I love that.
Yeah. It can be that. And again, that's something that probably started like she put it and people noticed it. And she was like, all right, Froggy's coming along. These are the kinds of things that are so fun.
Well, and another marketer always wears green. She just always wears the same color green everywhere she goes. Just another, you know, she's wearing green again. I recognize that.
Yeah. That's a good way to do it. I like that. I've seen others do it as well. One of the women I worked with also wore the same color all the time. And I thought that's very cool because you are going to be recognizable. But I just couldn't do it. Like, I know I'm wearing black today, but I generally I love many colors. And I thought that wouldn't fit me. But yeah, it could be down to a number. Like for me right now, I'm finding that leaves keep coming back in my like just very minimalist, of course, leaf drawings. And I've been using them for posts and things like that. And that's one thing. It's not really recognizable yet, but it's one where I'm like, I could see potentially that would be something I could highlight at some point.
Lynn, you are missing out on a huge opportunity. I mean, I don't know if you like them or not, but you've got cabbage roses behind you.
Yes, the peonies here.
Or they're peony. Well, they look like cabbage roses.
Cabbage roses, same idea, whatever you want.
Okay. I mean, if that's the way you show up on video,
yeah,
find that graphic somewhere.
Yes.
That's what it needs to be, because they're going to recognize you from your background. I just helped you with your you want to pay me for a consult fee?
I'm going to have to pay you for this one. Thank you, Kandas. That's very smart. It's true, right? And here's the thing that I felt right away when you said it. Oh, but what if I want to change this someday? Right?
But you can.
I know, but this is what I mean. Like, even with my clients, we feel this resistance to getting specific, or to having that thing that's going to make us distinct and define us, because we're like, I don't want to be stuck in this one area. We get really freaked out about that. But I always think, for a business to thrive, really, it's all about your customers. What you need to be doing is making sure that they see you, that they know who you are. And if that means you have to keep the flowers or whatever for a little longer than you might want to, that's okay, right? Like, you're still not just going to do that. There will be many pieces of you coming into your business. But I think there is a big part of being successful in business that means you kind of have to stick to things that it's not like, oh, I really wish I could change. It's like, no, this is in service to the business and to the people who I want to work with. So screw me and my wanting to not stick to the flowers.
Yeah, you need to, because they frame you perfectly on screen.
Yes, I finally got it right.
I mean, I don't know how you did that, but it's perfect. So you're probably in a corner. It looks like you're sitting.
I am.
But I mean, it's just perfect. So why not just grab that, find a pink and a white peony somewhere like on Canva and just put that in every single one of your graphics. Just very good. In the corner, in the upper right corner, like you are in Zoom. And that's all you need to do. Everything else can be different. Just there's your brand. Yeah. Okay. I'll send you a bill for that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I do. I love peonies. I love flowers. Yeah. So that fits.
But it's just a little tiny thing that makes you recognizable.
Yeah.
I had somebody ask me recently, why do I have to use the same colors in all my graphics? Consistency makes you show up, right? It's your brand. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. We need to make those commitments. That's a big piece of it, the commitment.
However, I don't remember my biology because I'm 53 years old and I took biology 30 years ago in college. I think I did. Did I just do that right? Math, right? All right.
Yeah.
But I think, and this could be wrong because again, it's been 30 years since I've taken biology class. I think that the cells in our body completely regenerate every 7 years. So that the cells that we have in our body today did not exist in our body 7 years ago, which means we are continually renewing ourselves. So it's okay to renew our branding and our messaging every once in a while to make it better fit who we're serving now.
That's right. Of course. Yes. But the every once in a while is the piece, right?
Exactly.
So the 7 years, I'd heard that too. I wasn't sure if it was your skin. Maybe it is all your cells, but yeah, it's that whole, like, are we the same person?
Yeah.
Oh, we could get philosophical there, but yes, once in a while, you need to let things have fuel and to actually be able to be in the world and recognized. One of the things we do a lot is we get freaked out. Oh, this isn't working, or I'm not, and we change things too quickly, Yeah. So,
well, and exfoliate. I mean, we're supposed to exfoliate our skin, right? So you just help that. That's back to the minimalism thing.
Yeah.
We're getting rid of the stuff that we don't need so we can look better and our skin can breathe better, right?
Exactly.
So think about it as, think of minimalism as exfoliating.
And interesting. Yeah. I didn't think skincare would come into play. Awesome.
I know. I'm full of them this morning. Full of them. All right. Do you mind if we talk about the fact that you're a single mom for a bit? Because that's something that is, I don't want to use the word excuse because it's not the excuse, but, a lot of women will think I can't own a business because I have to raise these kids. So how'd you get over that?
Well, I mean, I did wait until they were older. I was afraid to do it. So, like I said, the dream was there for a long time. And when they were really young, I felt a bit freaked out about that whole concept. So the way I did it was to take the step to freelance, to like leave my regular job. I didn't have much of a plan. And one of the reasons I did that though was because now my kids had been like shared custody, and then they were with me full time. And I thought I need to have the ability to just go pick them up when I need to. And, that was my purpose at that point. Everything was, I want them to feel secure and have a calm household. That was in reaction to not having that as a kid for myself. And everything drove that for me. So going freelance and saying, like, I'm going to just figure it out. I knew I had a lot of skills that were, people could use. I still could build websites. I still could do all the tech. I still had the strategy. So I worked with entrepreneurs, and that was the first my way to do something that felt a bit risky, but that still felt like I wasn't putting it all out there. And I would kick myself sometimes for like not actually creating a business of my own, and but yeah, they're now 20, he's almost 20 and she's 17. My daughter's 17. They're going to university. And in some ways, it's actually kind of the worst time to do it because I'm, it's a lot of costs and I'm feeling the crunch. And in some ways that motivates me. And in other ways, I'm like, oh, what the heck am I doing? But I also wanted to set an example for them because who knows what the world's going to look like? Like, what are the jobs going to be? I want them to see you can create your own thing if that's what you want to do. It's not easy, but I'm definitely on for the long term.
I've I'm not a single mom. I had a very supportive husband, but we decided very early on that I needed to work from home. And the working from home, I mean, I had to, we had to make it work so that I could work from home. Yeah. And being there in the morning when my kid got on the bus and being there when she got home from school was priceless. And if I didn't work from home, I would have missed so much of her younger years. So it was worth all the struggle and the sacrifice and, the hard times just so I could have those extra hours with her that would have gone to a daycare center. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that it's not really, you can't equate it. You can't equate, my husband and I owned our business together. He did not work at home. He had a shop, but, right. I just, is it worth it? I mean, is it worth it to be there? Can you make that work?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, I will say, like, of course I was coming at it from a certain place, right? I acknowledge that this isn't the case for everybody. I was getting paid quite well. I had put some money aside. So I did have kind of not backup, but I had some stuff that was set up for that. But also I keep my expenses really low. I was kind of without knowing I was a minimalist back then. Although the movement had started by that point, it's kind of what I was doing. I'm not a big buyer of things. And I keep my cars and all that. So when I did it, I could actually make a whole heck of a lot less. And we kind of didn't even feel it, right? What happened was I wasn't saving as much. But like you said, I made the decision that was totally worth doing for you're sick, I'll come pick you up. I'm going to, I'll be there for you when you need me. Like that was really important to me. But yeah, I just didn't live on, like, didn't need a lot of money.
Well, and that thing you go back to the car, we hold our cars forever, like 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Just people who like to change out their cars every 4 years, every 2 years, just hold on to it for 2 more years. Just,
it's a huge chunk of metal. Keep driving it. Like, I know maybe somebody else will drive it. Maybe that's what you want. But yeah, the disposable nature of like the things we do down to cars is crazy to me. I just, no.
Yeah. Because cars last a long time.
They do. If you
They
take
last a
care of
long
them.
time.
Yep.
Just put in a
Yep.
little maintenance. I mean, and that little expense, because the note on a brand new car could be $600, $700, $800. For a
Yes.
lot of people, that's rent,
Yes.
and the car notes could be even more than that, but I can't even fathom paying that much money for a car. So because I'm cheap and minimalist.
Amazing.
I only buy used cars.
Lovely. Yeah. Nice.
Because, well, I just don't see the point. I just
Yeah.
don't see the point of spending that much money for a vehicle that just gets me from point A to point B.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be flashy. And I've never been a flashy person,
Right.
Politics aside, I love Elizabeth Warren because she wears black pants and a black shirt and a color pop jacket, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
she just shows up in her black shirt and her black pants and her color pop jacket and just
Yep.
says, "Hello, I'm here."
Yep.
And I love that about her.
Yes.
Politics aside.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know. It's very smart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Her closet must be so easy to choose from.
Yeah.
I could totally do that wardrobe.
Yeah.
Not really, but yeah. Okay. Oh, wow. We need to start winding down. Okay. So I know we've talked about the skinny funnels and we talked about marketing some, but what is your favorite marketing tool, tip, or technique?
Email is I love email. I recently wrote about this actually. So I did over 30 launches with the founder I used to work with, and they were intense. And a big part, and my coach was actually talking to me about it. And at that moment, I said, you know what's at the core of a launch? Email. And he's like, tell me more. Because we had so many emails. Now, I'm not saying you have to write that many emails, but it is the closest kind of connection you're going to have with your potential client. That is not like too pushy. I'm not getting into your DMs. I'm not, it's like the more friendly way to do it. They've invited you in. It's that whole inbound thing. They've invited you in. And I think it's I'm so grateful for people letting me be in their inbox. So email to me is the most intimate of the communication that you can have, even though it's one to many, because when I write my emails, they are to one person in my head. Like it's for everyone, but I'm thinking of the one person that I really could help and work with. And I still love reading them. And I'm very particular. I only read a select few, but they still make me more happy than any other kind of digital anything. Again, you have to manage them, but yeah, I would say like get really smart with your email.
I have emails that go out twice a week. One of them is, "Hey, this is my latest podcast." And "Hey, this is what I'm teaching this week."
Yeah.
Email and I don't like each other. But I do have a handful of mailing lists that I'm on, like only a handful, where I actually look at the content and that can, when it no longer serves me, I unsubscribe and add another one, when I've gotten what I need from that list.
Yes.
And there's one guy that I follow right now that I really wish that I could switch to his. I already have everything in place for what he offers, and I wish I could switch over to what he offers, but I can't right now. So I'm just going to keep absorbing his goodness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense to switch right now. So when it does, I will, because I really enjoy the content that he's providing, which is a feel good thing, right? I mean, he's giving such good content in his email to somebody who's not even a client that I'm holding on to some of those emails so that I can reference them later.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's good content. And I don't do that at all because
I mean, it's really good for that. It's very good for, for putting those offers out there without like feeling weird about it. Like I usually put it in a PS or whatever. So, and again, that sales were directly attributable to those emails, right? It's very hard to do that now in terms of tracking and everything, but regardless, you can get a feel. People will reply. this is another thing I love is like somebody will reply and tell you a thing. It's, I don't know. For me, again, in the world, I like old school. I like old school stuff. And email is pretty much the oldest school digital thing for communication. So
I like the idea of adding the sales piece to the PS.
yes.
By the way, did you know? I
Yep.
like that. I like that a lot.
Yep.
Is there anything that you want to talk about that we didn't already talk about?
I think what's on my mind right now is focus. So that's the other piece of minimalism that can be helpful, right? You're making space so that you can focus on certain things. And I don't mean just sit down to focus. That's hard, but you can find great podcasts out there to tell you what you need to do for your brain to focus. This is more the things to focus on in your business that matter most, that will have the most impact. Because, of course, a big part of minimalism is that 80-20. What's that 20% of stuff that you want to look after that's going to make the most difference? Because I'm seeing and I'm talking to a lot of people who have so many projects that they want to do. I'm working on this, this, and this, and they've got like a list, and they're excited about them all, but nothing's getting enough attention. And so nothing's really ever seeing the light of day. And that frustration really makes me tense. And and people really resist the idea, like, let's see what you need to focus on, what will matter most for you right now. So that's a piece. Like, what do I want to say about it? Kind of that, just, this is where I'm like, I work with my clients a lot, is let's figure out what you need to focus on. And it often means subtracting. It means eliminating some things, which again,
Or
I think
postponing.
Yes, a lot of the times it is postponing. Yep. So, and the other thing is I'm finding that whatever books I'm reading about focus or that kind of thing, are they just missing so much of they'll be like, set some criteria for yourself. And it's like, yeah, do you know how much of a gargantuan task that can be for people? My criteria? What are you talking about? Like, how do I even begin to know what my criteria are? So we look at somebody else's list and we go, oh, okay, yeah, I don't want to do that either. I want to do this. That's the part that's hard, right? And again, it comes back to, it's because you're not clear. What is this all going toward? Why does this matter? For me recently, the idea of legacy has started to matter. I used to think it was such nonsense. I'd be like, who cares? I'll be dead. But as you get older and you think, wow, it matters. What am I going to leave? What's the mess I'm leaving for people? So
can I blow your mind with legacy?
Yeah, blow my mind.
So my girlfriend, very good friend, Michelle, she was on the show a couple of weeks ago, and her thing is about living your legacy.
Yes.
Don't leave a legacy, live it. And that mind shift. Yeah. It's like, oh, yeah, what am I doing for my family now? How can I live this legacy with them now? And then, after I'm gone, it will live on.
That's very true. Yeah, I love that. I love that perspective. Yeah. Yeah. So figuring out, and again, it does change, much like you said before, like you are going to evolve. We're going to change over time, but to be conscious and aware and deliberate about where am I right now? What matters to me to get to that point? Like, so those and then you'll be able to create those criteria more easily. Yeah.
Yep. All right. My favorite part of the interview. It's kind of sad too, because it means it's over, but this is your moment of gratitude. For whom or what are you most grateful?
My children. I'm most grateful for my children because they've provided me with that clarity. And that's a gift. I mean, again, I don't know what I would have done like otherwise. Who knows? It doesn't really matter. But and they're just they're that. I always wanted that kind of like anchor in my life, and that's not why I had children, but they provide that. And I'm so lucky that as near adults or adults, they are people I want to hang out with, that I just really like genuinely. And I'm just really enjoying this time where it's awesome conversation. And it's also bittersweet because you're like, oh, I'm like a mom in a different way now. I don't mom as much anymore. you have to kind of remove the momming stuff and just be more of like that soft place to land. And yeah, so I'm really grateful for that.
Thanks for tuning in to Gratitude Geek, where we help DIY marketers attract raving fans and repeat buyers. Don't forget to check out the show notes at gratitudegeek.com for links to all the resources mentioned in this episode. If you enjoyed it, please leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Our theme music is by Rev Brock and Solely. I'm Kandas Rodarte, reminding you that gratitude is like manure. It's just a pile of poo until you spread it around. Stay groovy, my friends.
Stay groovy, my friends.
I know we can make it easier than they can. We can make it better than before.